Hello guys, welcome to another session. In this session we are going to discuss about remaining VPC component, that is VPC flow log, NACL and implied router. So let's jump into the discussion. So far we have discussed subnets, route table, internet gateway, elastic IP, NAT gateways, NAT instances, security groups. Now we will discuss about VPC flow log, NACL and implied router. We will start with VPC flow log. So what is VPC flow log? So VPC flow log is one of the mechanism by which you can capture information about the IP traffic going to and from network interfaces in our VPC. VPC flow log data can be published to AWS CloudWatch logs and Amazon S3. So these two services still need to discuss. For a time being, just consider that these are the important managed services of AWS. We will discuss about CloudWatch and Amazon S3 in the upcoming sessions. Now moving further, we will understand that in what tasks flow logs can help us. So the answer over here is flow logs are really helpful in diagnosing overly restrictive security group rules. Another important task where flow log can help is monitoring the traffic that is reaching to our instances. Flow logs can also help us in determining the direction of the traffic to and from the network interfaces. So now we will discuss some points to remember for VPC flow log. Flow log not only created for VPC, we can create a flow log for subnet or a network interfaces. Suppose if you create a flow log for a subnet or for VPC, in this scenario, each network interface in the subnet or VPC is monitored. Another point to remember is that flow log data for a monitored network interface is recorded as flow log record, which are nothing but a log event consisting of fields that describe the traffic flow. Now moving further, when we create a flow log, we must have to specify for which resource we are creating this flow log. This is what I wanted to discuss with you regarding VPC flow log. Now we understand that why do we use. Now another VPC component which we are going to look into is that network ACLs. ACL stands for access control list. So let's understand that why we use network ACLs. Basically, a network access control list is an optional layer of security for our VPC that act as a firewall for controlling traffic in and out of one or more subnets. So that means it is a security on top of subnet. So let's jump into a diagram and we will understand it better. So now look into this diagram, then you will find that there it is an extra layer of security on top of subnet. That means you can provide inbound rule and outbound rule for accessing the subnet through the network ACLs prior to security group. So now you are familiar with all these components and you are looking into that. We are having a extra layer of security in the form of network access control list, which will pass through subnet to access the instances. So now the complete picture will look like suppose that if any of the request coming, so it will come through router, then it will look into route table, and then it will go into network ACLs, where network ACLs look into the inbound and outbound rule, whether the incoming request from an IP is being allowed or not allowed. So on the basis of that, it will proceed further. If it is being allowed, then again it will come here and check the security group, whether the IP is being allowed or not allowed in the security group to access the instance. So this is the complete picture. Now let's discuss about some of the points to remember while working with network ACLs. This point is very important. The another point which I am going to discuss, that is when we create a custom network ACL and when we associate with a subnet, by default each custom network ACLs denies all inbound and outbound traffic until you specify the rules to allow specific IPs which you want to allow. Moving further, and we will discuss another point to remember. Each subnet in our VPC must be associated with a network ACL. And suppose in case if you forgot to mention network ACLs explicitly, then subnet will automatically associate with default network access control list. Another point to remember is that a network access control list can be associated with multiple subnet, but a subnet can have only one association with any network access control list at any time. Now moving to the another point, but before discussing this point, I wanted to take you to AWS Management Console, where I can show you how the network access control list look like. So let's jump into AWS Management Console. So we are into AWS Management Console. Again, how do we can access service? We can come over here and type VPC, select it. So it will take us to the VPC console. So we are into VPC dashboard. See here, it is a part of security. So you should remember this page. So now we will go into network ACL, and here we will look the entry of ACL. So here we can see that we have 6 subnet association, and now you will find the rules. So the rules are inbound rules, outbound rules, subnet association. So all these detail you can find over here. So to discuss the point which I was telling now, so you can see how it is being designed. You will see the rule number. It has given the rule number. Execution of these rules happened in order, starting with the lowest number. The highest number you can use for the rule is 32766. So keep the rules values within the range 32766. AWS recommendation is that we should start by creating rules in increments like 10 or 100. Over here it is being used 100, so that in case any of the new rule which you want to insert, we can insert in between them. Now let's discuss about network ACL's rules. So you will see that the entry of network ACL's rules, which contains rule number, type, protocol, port range, source, allow and deny. For inbound rules you are getting source over here. For outbound rule you will get destination over here. So here you will find the entry rule, where I already mentioned that you can specify the number because it will execute from the lowest number. Type is nothing but a type of traffic like SSH connection. In the protocol you can specify protocol that has a standard protocol number. Then the port range, where you can specify like port 80, 443, and for the sources you can specify the CIDR range from where the traffic is coming, and allow and deny you can specify that whether it is being allowed or not allowed. So one last point which I wanted to discuss regarding network access control list is that network ACLs are stateless. That means response which is being allowed in inbound traffic are subject rules of outbound traffic. That means whatever allowed in inbound rule, the same will be allowed in outbound rules. But that is not the case with the security group, which I have discussed in one of our session. So this is what I wanted to discuss with you regarding network ACL's rules. So let's move further and let's look into another VPC component. So another component which we are going to look into is that implied router. So let's discuss about implied router. Let's jump into the diagram. It is one of the straightforward component. If you look into that, it is nothing but a component which is helping in routing the traffic. So any traffic which is coming or going, it will go through router. It will check that from where the traffic is coming and from where it will go. So this is what I wanted to discuss in this session. See you in the next session. Till then, bye bye, take care.